Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to be speaking about pain relief in labor and creating a birth plan. So this is a very, very interesting subject for me because I do know I struggled myself with creating a birth plan. We have somehow idea of it due to our gynae mentioning it to us, and we hear the buzzword in mommy's groups, but we never truly know what it's about. So usually with pain relief, I'm going to start there because it's quite a subject that needs to be delved into because it's one of our great fears at times. You know, what is really painful? What is things that can relieve that pain? So there's two things that I always tell moms. There's two things you cannot take away completely. That is pain in labor and nausea in pregnancy. But what we do is we take away the height of the pain, the height of nausea. Okay. So when we start off, we take, for instance, your pain relief, and we take it in categories. So we have things like we call gas. You must have heard of it already. So you get it in the labor wards. It's usually medically administered with the help of a midwife, or at times, I do not know if doulas have their own, but we oftentimes say rather to do it medically in a setting like a labor ward because it has its own side effects. So with gas, it doesn't take away the pain completely, but what we usually tell the moms, we put the mask on and we say, suction in. It's supposed to take, so the pain is up here, it takes the height of the pain away, kind of just mellows it down for you. I personally am not a great fan of it as a midwife because it makes my moms very nauseous. And you're already in labor, you're going to give birth. A lot of times during the last stages of labor, we do get nausea, but this is a different type of nausea. So now you're stopping everything, you're treating the nausea. Now you have to put up a drip where it could have been a very different delivery. And then we have our TENS machine. This is for me quite a good machine to have. Not all gynaes uses it, and not all places uses it as well. And what it does is the TENS machine actually takes away the height by working with the contraction. So the midwife will measure it with you, or in most cases in private hospitals, we're having a machine on us as well to monitor the fetal heart rate and fetal well-being. And what that then does is it will tell you when to press it, And it's very safe. The side effects would be there could be some pain passing through that you could not, anticipate. And it is quite tedious having to count pains and contractions. And and the machine can sometimes be quite expensive. We can have some malfunction of hardware on that day when you most need it. So that would be quite uncomfortable for any mom to maintain, but it's very safe. So it's one of those reasons why I would prefer that to the gas if you are taking the medical, but different to an epidural or a spinal. Okay, and then we're coming to the beloved, we call it the Petadine and Atarax. So those are injections. We give it usually in your gluteus muscle, so we give it by the bum. And what it does is it actually takes the height of the contraction away. So this is something that, there's a lot of controversy around it. A lot of people say it causes fetal distress, etc. In most cases, when we do induction, we give it early in induction because it actually helps us for the cervix. So remember, baby is in this little thing and the cervix needs to ripen. All these things need to happen so that baby can come down and contractions can work to bring your baby out. But a lot of times now I'm stuck here. Pain is there, contractions is happening, but nothing is moving. The cervix is not softening, not ripening. So we found that this really helps our cervix. I think it's because it relaxes the mom so much. So when I usually administer this during the induction in the labor room, I always tell my mom after this, if I give the injection, lay down. First of all, safety. You may be quite lightheaded. You may feel a bit, above the earth in highness. So put cot sides up and take the break. Let your body take that break because labor can be long. It can be up to 12 hours. And now in that time, you're going through this uncomfortableness. So you want to actually be a bit, that will just re-energize you. It also sometimes helps relieve pain in heavy labors where the mom is really struggling and nothing is progressing. It just calms the mom and somehow it makes everything start going. So that's the benefit of it. But the side effect is, some moms have a bit of a drop in BP as well. Some moms may notice nausea, but we usually give something for nausea with this one because we do anticipate the nausea is going to happen. Okay. And now I left it for last, the epidural and spinal. So there's many things on the market that or buzzing around about epidurals. Epidural is a little cannula you put in so you will sit with your back, kind of like a little cat, and you'll move it like this, and we put it in. We first wet it with some cold liquid to clean it, and then we put this little cannula in. It's very thin. It's so thin. It's uncomfortable initially. It feels like a mosquito pinched you or something pinched your skin. It will go up in the spine and the needle comes out, and what's left is a plastic cannula. And that plastic cannula comes around here, so it will flap here, and we usually put a plaster on here. And remember now, the whole back is plastered, so nothing can pull it or tug it or anything. And this is where we will now put in medication, because it has a little opening for us to put a syringe in and to top up medication. So epidural is different to a spinal, because the epidural, we work on levels. So we do not want you to be dead from here up, because how are you going to breathe? You have a breathing mechanism needed here. So we usually say just below the umbilicus, we want to keep it that way so that we can keep the pain at bay, but we also don't want to numb you so much that you can't breathe. So we top it up during the delivery. We usually start off slowly, but we go according to mom. So mom will tell us, you know what, sister, I don't want so much pain things yet, or blood pressure may play a part in it. Low blood pressure happens. So this is a great thing if you've got high blood pressure, because it actually lowers the blood pressure during the delivery. But if you've got low blood pressure, we have to monitor you and baby constantly. We put up a little drip as well in your arm with this, and we give you some fluid in your drip. So then we look at how do we maintain this throughout the labor day. Remember, it can go up to 12 hours. So we top it up, we lessen it, we go up and down if the levels get too much. So you will see a sister will come at you with a spray bottle or a block of ice. So we measure it. So usually if you tell me, and I go like this with the ice block and you're not feeling it, then I know it's too high. Something, I have to lessen it at the drip side. Because we usually give it in a little infusion as well. And then this is very cool because we get range of pain control. So a lot of moms will say, my friend has had it and she says her back is, damaged because of it. That is very impossible. Okay. The chances of an actual spinal incident is very rare. And most moms will attribute this to the reason why their back is forever damaged. I've had 3 epidurals and 3 natural deliveries with the epidurals. And the next thing moms usually say is, it caused a seizure to happen. Also not true. As I said, I had 3 quite natural deliveries with 3 epidurals. So it's back mechanics. You have to look after your back. How you pick up your baby is important. What you do with your baby, those are things that irreversibly damages our back. And moving, doing some exercise, walking around the block, things like that. That is the only thing that keeps your back going. But if you attribute, everything to that epidural day, you will take a very long time to prove it's that, because it's very, very rare. There is some cases where moms have had spinal leaks, where we go up in the epidural, we're struggling to find the spot, and there is some leak of the spinal. And when that happens, we usually have immediately, we can do a little, put some blood in there, and we call it a blood patch, where the blood just closes it off again. And it's your own blood we usually just put there. It's a very quick procedure as well. And we usually are accustomed to dealing with what is next if there's any complications. So that is the epidural. So now a lot of times there is confusion because a spinal is used in theatre with a cesarean section, okay? So why do we need a spinal? Because we have to completely block. You can think we're going to be cutting, we're going to be going through layers of skin. So we don't want mom to midway have this horrific incident of feeling pain. Again, if you're going for a cesarean, they will do the same mechanism. You sit like this on the side of the bed in theatre. They will put on the spinal. It's the same way they just and insert it the same way. And again, a plastic little cannula will be here, which the anesthetist will be with you in theatre, will manage your pain relief. So if they start cutting, we don't just cut. We usually start by making a little pinch on the skin. And then we ask mom, does she feel? Usually not. If there is feeling, we up the level. So the anesthetist will be right here at your head with the machine behind him, so he can up everything and go down with everything. And now at the same time, you maybe don't feel anything yet, and now they do a small cut and we again up. Or any time during the cesarean you feel anything. Okay, so I know there's a lot of fear. Oh, what if they cut and I feel it? You shouldn't keep quiet. You say and they stop immediately. They really do. And we first top up your pain relief. Okay. Oftentimes we do get levels where it's not effective. We go up on the levels and it doesn't work. Then we just give mom a mask. So it's different to the earlier mask. This one again will put her out completely. Okay. It's just for her comfort, because we don't want her feeling all this layers we're cutting. It's very dramatic to feel that. And then we will wake her up afterwards. She'll have a baba with her, everything else, but we don't want her to be suffering during a cesarean. So with both, you can hear that your communication with your provider, your midwife, your doctor, gynae is very important, because both will ensure that you are effectively taken care of. Even if you have your epidural in and your head feels funny, the only difference is with your epidural, we do not let you walk around anymore because your legs are numb and you can fall and trip. And with both of these, after a cesarean, we usually give you every 3 hours pain relief after that to ensure you are fine. We don't take out your drip yet. We have a catheter in. The same like with the epidural, we put in a catheter and you won't feel it because everything will be numb when we do put it in. And it helps so that if your urine is passing, we can measure it so we know what your kidneys are doing, it's working. And we can also help you so that you will have a discomfort because you won't know you need to pass urine. So those are all things that can help. And it is advisable to just read up more about it. But if you hear any stories about it, it's always best to phone a professional, speak to your gynae, speak to your midwife, so that they can alter any fears you may have or unrealistic fears of other people's experiences. And then we have our non-medical. So what is that? That's moms that decides to come into labor ward. They want to have a bath going. So bath is a non-medical pain relief. The warm water relieves pain. It relieves a lot of anxiety as well a lot of times. And it just helps the flow of everything, because you can think baby is in water right now. And then massage helps a lot. Massaging your back, massaging the shoulders, just making mom feel comfortable. So those are all non-medical parts of pain relief. It doesn't need to be managed by us, except the bath. Sometimes I do feel I like to manage a mom that wants to bath during labor or wants to have a bath in labor, because then obviously we need to be around to know if baby comes out, is everything okay, and is she progressing? Because you can sit in a bath, but maybe the uterus is not moving, opening up enough, effacing enough, and maybe a lot of things are not happening on par. That's why we still need to be around for that. So those are the pain relief options. So why I did this first is because the next part is your birth plan. And part of your birth plan is your pain relief. So we can recap again on that. And at the end, if you have any questions and you mentally compartmentalizing it now, just type it in and we can always check up on it later and answer it as well. So what do we have to do with the birth plan? I always say it's an outline of the preference of delivery, okay? It can be either done only by mom or mom and dad or mom and partner. Partner means anybody that's supporting you during your labor is going to be making up this plan, okay? And what do we need to do? First, realistic. I've seen a lot of birth plans. I've seen a lot of birth plans not succeed. Why? Because it was based on, a mythical birth. And it never catered for realistic things that may happen. And then when it happened, I've seen doulas fall apart, starting to cry with moms. I've seen moms and dads cry because the birth plan isn't matched. But it's because nobody catered for those things that may happen. Remember, like your pregnancy, each one is unique and each birth is unique, and anything can happen in either your pregnancy that is unplanned for, and the same with birth. I also say make it very flexible. Okay, flexibility is key because you may have planned for one thing and you end up having a completely different experience. But if you were flexible in your planning, you kind of mentally prepared yourself. I love a birth plan because I think as a mom myself, I did it. And as a midwife, I can see my moms are very relaxed when they come in. They've planned for this. And I love it when it's flexible because I can then see my mom plan for the unexpected. So mentally, she's with us. If I say, Mom, this is happening, the gynae is coming to see you, but it may lead to a Caesar because there's no progress being made, and gynae will evaluate now. By the time I give her a document to sign for consent, she's not like looking at a partner and partner's looking at her and everybody doesn't know what's happening. She's already mentally told herself, if by this stage this didn't happen, this may happen. And then I also say the aim of a birth plan is a happy mommy and a happy baby, but also a healthy mommy and a healthy baby. I've seen birth plans that gynaes have tried to enforce because the mom has asked for it and has been very, very verbal. And then we have babies that ended up in ICU because it shouldn't have been followed anymore because, it was not at the best interest of the mom or the baby. And at the end of a delivery, I want to see just smiling faces right around, I want to see that little bundle of joy, pink and happy, and everything is going well. But at the end, I also want to know that mom is not left traumatized because something didn't go according to expectation. So what is my outline? So I always say first, who's going to be your birth partner is very important. I've had deliveries where, and I'm even talking, this is totally private hospital. So I've had deliveries where first I see the dad the morning, then the granny, then the auntie comes in during the labor, and then this one. And then by the time the mom is in active labor, this is now the real pain, pushing everything. And I'm like, who must I call? There's a million people outside. And she's like, I don't know. And then they start fighting amongst each other who's going to be in the room. And it offers no support to the mom at all. So I always say, discuss it beforehand, tread lightly. I know all grandparents want to be there as well, but there can only be one at the time because the room is so filled up. We've got here basins, we've got here things on this side. There's so many things in equipment and people waiting for be medical people that we can only take one birth partner. And do we really follow 5 people's instruction? Because your mom may say push now and the midwife say push later and the partner say just breathe, and afterwards it's gonna annoy you. If you're in pain, you don't want to hear 5 people telling you what to do. Okay, so one birth partner, that voice can just calm you. It's a familiar voice, it's a familiar touch on your hand. That's sometimes what you need during that stage. And then I always say, where do you want to give birth? Is it at home? Do you want to give birth in a hospital? Do you want a doula present? Do you want a midwife present, your own midwife? Do you want pain relief? That's very important, okay? Pain relief is for me very important. I've seen it not being accounted for in our various birth plans, and the moms are so traumatized afterwards, stitches was done, things was done, and they just like, oh, I should have just had a pain. Oh, I will never forget that pain in my life. And it should be it's a very precious time to give birth, and it's a very vulnerable time as a woman, because you must remember your birth plan will also speak for you if you cannot speak. Like, for instance, if we need to put gas on you because we need to put you out a bit, because of pain, maybe during a cesarean, we then know what she wanted to do with the placenta, what she wanted to us do with baby, skin to skin, what she wanted, maybe she wants a partner to skin while she's, being in recovery room. So those are all things that's speaking for you. It's almost like a will, basically. And then music. Oh, I love this. So I love a birth plan with some music in. So if you're in my neighborhood, I always tell the moms before the time, take your laptop, make a compilation with your partner, happy songs, sad songs, anything that makes a memory for you of that day. And during your labor, you play it. Usually in the beginning, it's always softer music because you kind of, I don't know, you're in a mellow mood if you come in, and then afterwards you get a bit agile. You're like, when is the pain coming? When is it getting more? Then maybe a bit of faster tempo, and then you can mellow it down at the end again. And it's very nice. It just sets the mood. Babies coming into this anaerobic world, from this very peaceful, watery surrounding. Baby's going to come to our world. So how nice is it to fill it with a beautiful song or melody or orchestra, and just have baby come in. And I've also seen it does wonders for moms. It just calms them so much, and even as couples, it sets that memory of that day and that song. So it's a very sweet time of doing that. You just put it at an acceptable volume, though, in case there's other 3 moms maybe in the next door labor rooms giving birth, so they don't need to hear your song and you don't need to hear their song. So how would you like to deliver your placenta? That's the next point. It's very important because your placenta needs to be delivered and also discarded. Some religious or beliefs, the placenta needs to be collected by dad and buried within a time frame. So those are all things to put in your birth plan. Episiotomy, do you want one? When do you want one? Do you want them to first speak to you about it? Fetal monitoring, do you want to be hearing your baby constantly or be monitored and about over you all the time? Snacks, do you want some energy? Do you want to drink clear liquids during your labor? Some soup, do you want to go totally, as the doctor says, nothing? And do you want to use a tub or a shower for pain relief? If cesarean, what is your special request? Okay, if I have a cesarean, doctor, and I'm put under, I want my baby to be placed on my partner's chest for skin to skin. And then if you're having birth at home, what is your emergency time? If I notice I'm not dilating or I'm not progressing, by what hour do I feel, or am I going to listen to my doula or my midwife, make the call of an emergency? And very importantly, all this must be done consulting with your healthcare provider. Remember, each one has a unique medical condition, medical health. So oftentimes you may be diabetic and want to do a birth plan with having no snacks, but you may need snacks to keep your sugar levels up. And then we also have safety. That's why you need to speak to your healthcare provider. Otherwise, it would be unsafe. Because you're just going to be doing what your plan says, but your healthcare provider maybe says, no, mom, we need to do this or do a cut. And some doctors have certain preferences. Remember, a natural birth to me means one thing, to you something else. To your provider, your gynae, it can mean this, but not this. I will take a mom that walks around. Maybe the provider will say during labor, I can take position changes if she wants to squat and not lay on the bed. But you know what? I'm not going to do baths. I don't feel like having a water birth because I don't like it. It's not safe for me as a provider. Say now, a gynae feels that way. So it's very nice to discuss it, have it done and discuss it. Usually by 34 weeks, I feel a birth plan should start to be in motion. And at 36 weeks, confirmed and discussed with your gynae. Because at 36 weeks, you can actually now see the position of baby. Will this be a natural delivery? Will it be a cesarean? And then I always say, ask your gynae, if I should have pain relief, are you doing it yourself? Do you do your own epidurals? Because some do. Or must you call a anesthetist? How long will the anesthetist take to get here? Because I don't want to be in so much pain and wait, and then the baby's here by the time the anesthetist arrive, By when should I ask for pain? Or is it better to ask immediately because he's far or he's on call and he must come out? And those are all things to have in your birth plan. The midwife will listen to me when I ask, can I have pain relief, and assist me when I do want my pain relief, have it ready. And then why you also need to discuss it with your doctor. Remember, he must prescribe it to the midwife. We just do what doctor says we must do at that time. So we cannot do the pain relief unless it's prescribed on a prescription sheet. Okay. So I've got some examples for you if you're writing your birth plan. For instance, regarding pain, I will ask when I need it. That's one thing. And I may ask first some petadine. Afterwards, I will opt for epidural if I cannot manage my pain anymore. Those are all wording. We use you will hear it sounds very far off, but we use a positive wording because we're bringing into existence positivity and that's why music is also with it, because we want to bring our baby in that peaceful environment, okay? Episiotomy, I would like some guidance of when to push so that I can naturally stretch and not need to be cut. But if it is a matter of tearing, which is very, very severe at times, we need to go to theatre afterwards. If it is going to tear, I would rather have an episiotomy, but a very decent episiotomy and guidelines how to treat it. And then, for instance, immediately after birth, I want my baby on me, near me. I want them to examine my baby on me and not at the incubator. But remember why you do it before the time. You're going to discuss it with your doctor. And he may tell you, but he doesn't feel that safe. You've had a high-risk pregnancy. We need to take your baby to the incubator and do a proper inspection, okay? And then you have to kind of negotiate with each other. Where's the middle ground in those things?